DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Intel, and Monster Energy.
Welcome back to DreamHack Open Leipzig 2020, where before the break, we saw Big take the first win on home soil. But it is time for another home crowd favorite to take to the stage as Sprout battle against North. But first, introductions are in order. My name is Ferris Spears, your desk host for the duration of this weekend. And of course, I've got my two wonderful analysts, Potter and Maniac, with their beautiful jazz hands. Thank you for that.
We have a lot of moves that we are prepared to throw in, depending on how it happens.
Sunday's
got
grand
the wave,
final. Yeah, I'm expecting like a Mexican wave.
Please take it easy, one at a time.
You've got some moves on you, Maniac. But of course, we're going to be talking about some beautiful Counter-Strike that is coming up next. It's North versus Sprout. It's going to be a huge game coming into this, isn't it?
It is, and the first game taught us something, is that logic and reason doesn't really work out in the first day. You might look at this game thinking, well, you know what, North have it in the bag. Well, that is not the case. I think it's an open case. It's very hard to tell what's going to happen. We talked about the crowd advantage, 3 Germans into Sprout again. So, you know, I'm undecided about this game.
I am as well. I mean, but I guess the good thing is we just saw Big coming in. We know they boot camped prior to this. We know they had a lot of roster changes, but they looked really strong out there. So hopefully North take a page out of Big's book and show up exactly in that manner, same manner as well.
Well, exactly. And we're going to be taking a look at our groups. Obviously, we're going to be moving over into Group B, which is where North versus Sprout will be, which I think is going to be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, saying that they are going to be sort of a home crowd favorite, as it were, but also joining them in that group are Heroic and Mad Lions. Maniac, you brought up the point that this group is really a Danish derby, and I think it's going to be all eyes on Sprout to see if they can kind of push out of that and make sure 2 Danish teams don't go all the way to the semi-finals.
Yes, I mean, objectively, Sprout are the little team there. That is just the truth when you compare to Heroic. Mad Lions having such a blast recently. The results they've had have been absolutely amazing. North is still North. Yes, they've struggled, but they have the experience. They've played on stages many, many times. Now, if you Sprout, any game you win, any map you win is a surprise, but we said it, they will have the crowd with them. If you take North by surprise at the beginning, you put the rhythm into it, you take the fight to them, you might just surprise them. We might have a bis repetita of what happened and see Sprout go one step further in the group.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to pick up on North a little bit as well, because last time in Seville, when we saw them start off, obviously they are the reigning champions, we have to say that.
That is true.
They were starting off very, very slowly. They had that game against Big, which went to overtime. I believe it was very, very close to them to get out of it. They're a team that, in my opinion at least, seem to start off a little bit slower before they can actually get anything into it.
I think you're absolutely right. They did have a very slow start, and I think one positive thing probably for North, especially seeing them from Sevilla, is they're efficient on all 7 maps. They've put in a lot of work on all 7 maps. But one thing is they don't have that one favorite best map that they know they can have full confidence that if they pick it in a best of 1, they're going to win it 9 times out of 10. They don't have that quite yet. So I think that's probably a negative factor coming in for North. But you're right, they did look pretty decent in Seville.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you kind of touched on it with the maps. Obviously, this is a best of 1, so I'm very interested to see how this map veto is going to go down. You kind of pointed it out with not having one favored map. We almost saw Vertigo becoming that back in Seville. That was sort of the teaser map, and I'm wondering if they're going to let us through.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, we spoke about how proficient Gade was on that map, and we know that he was that in-game leader in Seville, and now today it's going to be MSL, but I imagine that slotting MSL into this roster, it's going to be kind of, they're going to pick up where they left off in Seville. They don't have the luxury of a lot of time on their side, so I'm going to assume that they're going to be proficient on Vertigo. That's going to be one one of the maps that they put a lot of focus on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think MSL coming back as an in-game leader, they're not going to change everything. I think they're going to pick right where they left off, as you said, and probably also where MSL was before he left. They didn't have time. I think they said they did a boot camp as well, a few days, but they won't have time to recreate the whole game. That's not going to happen. They will go to the old routines they had. We go on Dust 2. If you're Sprout, I think that's okay. You've avoided the super heavy tactical maps, which I don't think Sprout are too familiar with. We also have to talk about the fact that they changed the roster. Oscar and Daisha coming in. I don't really know where the map pool stands right now. So Dust 2, the epitome of open map, skill-based map. And from Sprout, I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to touch on Sprout a little bit there. They are a little bit of a question mark. I mean, at least for me personally, obviously you're saying with the two new players kind of coming in, shaking up this roster a little bit, what are you kind of expecting from them coming into this opening match?
I think, man, Sprout has had such a challenging Christmas year, and really a lot of the 2019 year. We spoke about how this team almost upset so many teams in EPL, almost making it all the way to Odense, and it's just so unfortunate that they lose their two heavy hitters, and Xierson and Keto. Now they're coming into this open, and I believe they just barely missed out in the whole EPT tour as well. So they're hopefully going to be able to overcome that mentally and be prepared. But I'm curious to see how strong their mental fortitude is being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and not being so discouraged.
The problem with Sprout is that they were for a long time the reservoir for better players to go in different teams. And this is a very not nice place to be in if you're trying to build a project and then someone comes and say, oh, that is a good player. I'm just going to take this guy. Come to my team. Come to my team. We play better teams, better leagues. So, Sprout, they had to rebuild a lot of time. Dennis got picked up. Now he's back into it. They were, I think, Xierson left as well, Keto as well. So now they bring Oscar and Daisha. They have to go to English. So many challenges that they had to face throughout the year, which left us with very little expectations. I don't really know what they can bring to the table. Sometimes it can be a good thing. No pressure on your shoulders, just do whatever you can. You have the crowd with you, but that's the angle I would ride if I had to back Sprout.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, being the underdog can definitely have its favors at some points, but the team that they'll be facing up against is North. They are defending champions, lifting that title in DreamHack Open Seville. Let's take a look at what they had to say before this match.
The team feels good right now. We have new energy. When I came in, I felt that everyone was very pumped and ready to go. And we have had a great boot camp, so we are feeling very happy and ready. We are not really expecting so much result-wise. We are mostly just looking at focusing on the goals we set before the tournaments in terms of what we want to do good and keeping up with that. Result-wise, obviously we want to win, but you have to be realistic, and yeah, we will just see what happens. I think Sprout was a very good team before, actually, with Xierson and Keto. I played against them a lot when I was in Optic, and it was close matches. So I think they're very good. I don't know much about this new lineup. Obviously, they are kind of at the same point as us. We need to find each other. They need to find each other, so it will be an interesting match for sure.
Some interesting words coming there from MSL. Normally, when you see a player coming into a team, they're so pumped. They're like, yeah, we're going to win this. We're going to be lifting so many trophies. MSL, on the other hand, he's much more realistic, as it were.
Right, and I think he has to be a little cautious, right, coming into this, adjusting his expectations, because we have to remember, the last time MSL was on this North lineup, they won DreamHack Stockholm. He gets the MVP. Then a tournament a few days after, he gets benched and cut from this lineup. So I think he's certainly coming into here with, hindsight is 2020. He's going to understand exactly kind of what his shortcomings were the last time around. So I'm assuming he's going to be able to adjust his expectations coming into this one.
That's what I found so interesting about that coming off that win in Stockholm, then coming to the Face It Major, and they lost all 3 games and they were out. And that was it. MSL was gone. It seems like the sort of turnaround of some of these players, it seems to go through them quite a bit. And obviously MSL is now coming back into the squad.
Yeah, and his situation is a weird one, to be honest. And we have to be clear with the viewers. MSL was kind of booted out of North, right? Then he goes and does his thing with Optic and all that. Then Valde used to be the in-game leader of North. decides for a different fate, he goes with OG, and then MSL is brought back. But I am unsure as to the circumstances into which he's coming back. It's not a case of, for example, Zeus coming back to Na'Vi because everyone realizes, oh my god, no, I miss you so much, come back, we were better with you. I'm not sure we are in that scenario right now. I'm not sure how comfortable MSL is in that team. I think he had to come back, or rather North had to bring it back, because without Valde they couldn't make it work. Might be a type of system that they want to change, but I'm very unsure as to his situation.
I gotta agree with you, but I think North are probably adjusting their priorities, right? I mean, thinking back the first time around when MSL was benched, I think North was very heavily prioritizing that firepower. They had Valde, Caribbean, AZ. They really prioritized that firepower, and now they're going back to their roots. They're bringing Cajun B back in. They're bringing MSL back in. They're wanting to focus on their structure and their foundation. Whenever I speak about Cajun B, I always refer to him as that rock. He's a rock for any team, and every top player within CSGO has a player like Cajun B in that rock, and it's just really up to the team and the players to make sure that that rock doesn't become too heavy.
So the problem that I have with this iteration of North now is to realize why it would work when it didn't before. So I think the conditions are that the players individually have evolved, and as you said, you mentioned Kirby. Under MSL, he wasn't performing so well. When Valde took the leadership, Kirby went back to a very, very impactful player. Can he translate that and have that impact again in a structured system with tactics and MSL at the helm? Can Kirby perform? It's the same with Gade. I think Gade overperformed in that period with Valde. Can he do it again? Because if they don't, then I don't see why it would work. It's like going back to something because we don't really have anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and their first opponents will be Sprout, the hometown favorites. Let's see what they had to say before this match.
We prepared for 2 weeks overall, I think, so we made a bootcamp for 1 week in Osnabrück. We tried to go over all the fundamentals again, tried to add some new stuff. For example, Oscar had some stuff from Mousesports and hand raisers, which he invented. Pavel Dücher had some stuff from Aristocracy. So yeah, we just tried to find our roles, positions and stuff, and we just went over everything. Practice went kind of good. We had 2 officials against Big and Harvo. We both won. So yeah, it feels quite comfortable, but we will see how it will go in a LAN environment now. We don't really have an expectation. I mean, obviously our goal is to go to playoffs, but we have 3 really good teams in the group, North, Mad Lions and Heroic, so we are definitely the underdogs, I would say, out of all teams probably. So yeah, we will see how we will play. If we get rolling, we can beat any team in the group for sure. So if that happens in the playoffs, everything can happen.
Practice, practice, practice. That has been the name of the game for Sprout. But they admitted it themselves. They are the underdogs, especially in this group. Are you kind of expecting any huge plays to be coming out of this team?
I think so, and I mean, we just heard Dennis speaking about Dika. I don't know if it's Dika, Disha, Daisha.
He said Dusha, I think.
Dusha.
Yeah, Dusha.
Okay, Dusha. Okay, we'll go with
Just
Dusha.
go with it. Dennis, you're responsible. If you're saying it wrong,
Oh God, we'll blame it on Dennis. But yeah, Dusha, he seemed to have quite some success on the aristocracy side. We saw them competing in DreamHack Summer last year, where they actually made it all the way to the semifinals, and it kind of blew us away. We definitely weren't expecting that. And Disha and Mihu were the 2 heavy hitters. Now, I'm curious to see how that translates coming into a whole new environment. We got to remember, he's a Polish youngster coming into a German lineup, and I just think that sort of culture shock, that sort of environment change, just all of a sudden, I can't see Dusha coming out.
it's going to be okay. We're going to make it. At some point, we'll know how to say it.
Okay.
That's going to be our own challenge.
But I can't picture Dusha coming out and just blowing everyone out of the park and just completely destroying the competition. So I think it's certainly going to be baby steps for the Sprout side.
I'll have my eyes on Dennis, because I think he is one of the players who has the biggest variation in his level throughout his career. And I haven't seen that in many, many different players, but if we go back in time just a little bit, when Dennis was in Sprout before, he was one of the main fraggers. He was a heavy hitter for sure. Goes to Big, fails arguably, that was not a success for him. He disappeared individually. Now he goes back to Sprout. I need to see the beast Dennis.
Well, we are just about ready to get into this game. We're going to be heading to a short break. When we are back, we'll be getting into game number 2 of DreamHack Open Leipzig.
That's too much information. Don't care about miles, that's whatever. I know, you wake up in the morning thinking this done as hell. I know, no one could ever love you like the way you love yourself. I wish you were as big as, I wish you were as big as, yeah, I wish you were as big as your ego. I wish you were as big as, I wish you were as big as, yeah, I wish you were as big as your ego. Ain't no way I give it up, move to you like I'm in love. You want it, but can't get it. Baby, I don't give a, do I look like I'm in love? You want it, nah, you can't get it. Oh, I wish you were as big as, I wish you were as big as, yeah, I wish you were as big as your ego. I wish you were as big as, I wish you were as big as, yeah, I wish you were as big as your ego.
It is indeed time for competitive Counter-Strike again. We had the appetizer before, Pimp, but it did leave a little bit left. I'm still feeling a bit hungry. So game 2 coming right round the corner.
Yes, and I'm very excited about this one. I think North with MSL is going to be very interesting. I think Oscar being back within the competitive circuit is very interesting. I think there's a lot of skill on the server with these two teams as well, and we already highlighted it coming into the tournament that all these teams participating in this particular tournament can potentially end up in a final, right? There's so much skill surrounding every single team at this tournament, so having two of those go toe-to-toe now, especially considering the storyline, having this guy on your screen, Oscar back, having MSL back with North, there's so much to follow here.
Absolutely, and one thing that really struck a chord with me as well, going through into this, we saw the two pre-game interviews with MSL and Dennis, where they both basically said that they're kind of underdogs and they're not really putting too much pressure on themselves. They're kind of separating themselves from that. So that's kind of interesting because maybe that does open things up now for them to both come into this game and feel like there's nothing to lose.
Sure, and theoretically speaking, there should be nothing to lose because neither of these two teams have had the success that we kind of expected them to have. I'd say like Sprout is a decent team, right? We don't expect that much of them. Whereas for North, that is a team and that is an organization that is supposed to be a rock-steady top 10 team in the world. If you look at what they invest into this lineup, if you look at some of the players, you have Kirby, you have MSL, you know, players that have been playing on some of the best Danish teams for years, and again, Kirby, MVP of a major that he won with Astralis, you know, that's the player that is supposed to be higher up in the rankings. So I personally have obviously a history with North, and I personally are very disappointed in how this whole project has evolved. And I like the fact that now that they're simply just taking a step back and saying, all right, we're done expecting to win, we're done expecting to do good. Now we just focus on us and we try to improve as much as we can, and we'll see where it ends. Because yes, you know, North is a team that if they don't go to a semi-final here, if they don't go into a final, I'd be disappointed once again, because they're supposed to be the biggest organization, the biggest team at this tournament. They're just not playing like they are.
There's a lot of very good points there, and maybe that's the reason why they have stepped back. Obviously, MSL just coming back in. As you said, they've had 4 or 5 days boot camp. It's not as if they've been a fully fledged roster, although we saw what happened with VP, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything either in the first day here of Leipzig. Kirby, of course, does have a bit of a history with Leipzig. He's pulled off some ridiculous plays here in the past. And it would be great to see him really get back up to that level again, because he was one of the players that was touted as the next big thing. And then he kind of went off the radar a little bit.
He kind of did, right? There was obviously the whole, wouldn't necessarily call it a scandal, but him leaving Astralis, going into North, there was a lot of controversy, you know, surrounding that move, and it never really panned out the way he wanted to. They won that big event, the DreamHack Masters in Stockholm, where they won against Astralis, and that was like the highlight for this lineup. But ever since, it's been nowhere near that level. So Kirby as an individual as of lately, have started to play some great Counter-Strike. We know how good he can be, and he has to be the star player of this lineup. We could talk about AC, we could talk about Cajun. Both of them have had a fine career so far, but AC is a guy that I played with when we were together in Dignitas. He was by far, one of the best riflers in the entire world. I would even go as far as saying he was the top 5 rifler at a certain time. He just hasn't been anywhere near that level as of late, and I've stopped believing that can be the case again. It's been too long for him to refine that form. Whereas for Cajun, he's always been rock solid, he's always been a great player, but again, not to the same level as we've seen before. So to me, this is a lineup of a lot of players that has a lot of talent, right? We've seen it before, but we haven't seen it as of late. So if they can enable each other, and if they somehow can find that old level, then sure, North can be a top 10 team in the world. Sure, they can be potentially one of the best teams in the world. But right now, let's manage our expectations, because they're going up against a very strong Sprout team as well, who bring in this guy on the server, Oscar, who I firmly believe are still one of the best performing AWP players out there. His skill is great. Whether he's a good teammate or not, whether he's a good communicator or not, I don't really know that. Never played with him, but he's hell of a good AWP player.
Oh, absolutely, and it kind of does put a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons with that whole debate as to age. He's a player he's not young. He's getting up there now in terms of a professional Counter-Strike player, but he's still just as good. He's still able to take over a map and just make it his own. The guy has insane potential and talent, as you say, but I mean, in terms of Sprout, where do you see these guys right now? Obviously, they've got a couple of roster changes themselves. Half mentioned Oscar, and you have Daishad, I think you pronounce his name, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. It's kind of a bit of a question mark for all of us, I think. Is this a team that you could see going anywhere in the future?
I gotta be completely honest with you, it depends on where you want to see them go, because no, I don't believe they're going to be a top 10 team in the world. I don't believe they're going to be part of that circuit. They're not going to be at all the big tournaments that are going to be all over the world. I think it's a team that has potential to be a great upset team, coming into DreamHack Opens, coming into some of the smaller tournaments. We're going to see how the calendar is going to pan out throughout the year, but this team has skill, right? They have players with experience. They know how to play the game. They have the guy on the screen right here, as you said, Daisha, and a new prospect we don't know too much about. What if he turns out to be the next big thing? What if he turns out to be a great player? You have him and Oscar teaming up together, and all of a sudden you have a very strong team. So I'm not going to rule out the possibility of Sprout being a top team, but managing your expectations right here, Sprout is the team that you'd expect to be just somewhere in between the top 20.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we find out the answers to all those questions. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, guys, just while we get a couple of things sorted out here. So we'll be right back.
richtig unerwartet. Ein Freund von lange her nahm sich die Zeit, um dir diese Zeilen hier zu schreiben. Worte voll vermisster Zärtlichkeit. Ein Anruf erreicht dich aus dem Blauen. Draußen fällt der Regen grau und trüb. Die Stimme klingt genauso wie vor Jahren. Mit jedem Satz macht sie dich mehr vergnügt. Die kleinen Gesten sind der Unterschied und die leisen Töne sind das schönste Lied. Und die besten Freunde sind die man manches Mal vergisst und dann plötzlich spürt, wie sehr man sie vermisst. Ein Fremder findet Grund zu lächeln und durch ihn denkst du plötzlich dann daran. Das größte Glück ist nicht das, was man kaufen, nur das, was man einander schenken kann. Die kleinen Gesten sind der Unterschied und die leisen Töne sind das schönste Lied. Und die besten Freunde sind die man manches Mal vergisst und dann plötzlich spürt, wie sehr man sie vermisst. Keine große Prozedur, ein Wort, ein Satz, ein Lächeln nur kann die Welt verändern jeden Tag. Die kleinen Gesten sind der Unterschied und die leisen Töne sind das schönste Lied. Und die besten Freunde sind die man manches Mal vergisst und dann plötzlich spürt, wie sehr man sie vermisst.
me for today. I don't care what you think of me. You know what I think of you. And this time if I'm away, I know just what to do. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm back on top and I don't need anybody else. Anybody else, yeah. I'm back on top and I don't need anybody else. Anybody else. I'm back on top and I don't need anybody else. Anybody else, yeah. I'm back on top and I don't need anybody else. Anybody else, no.
Welcome back. It seems the issues have been resolved, hopefully, and we're going to be getting into our second game of the day. North versus Sprout. Not sure what the battlefield is going to be just yet, though, Pimp. Do you know which map it is?
No, I actually don't. I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted to be surprised when I get into this game, and I think, personally, it's going to be a great one. I think North, go on against Sprout. You see the players right here on your screen. There's a lot of experience. There's a lot of untapped potential. There's a lot of potential we've seen before, but that is no longer there. You can argue that Spitty, a guy that by many was considered, a star player within Germany, he was supposed to be the next big thing. His career never really took off. Same goes on for KGB, right? We've seen him on high level in Denmark, but it's not really been going off. Now we see it's going to be Dust 2, and that's a map that MSL in his past didn't like to play, but with this iteration of North, something they've been practicing on the bootcamp.
CT side occupied by Sprout. And pretty aggressive play up middle already from both teams, actually. Hiding on the Xbox smoke. Gade is going to be in there, waiting alongside AZ. And they have found the prey. Now, I believe someone tried to show you how to say his name. We're going to get back on that in a second. As Gade is coming straight through onto short side. Oh, he's landed 2 more. That is huge for North, and they are taking over this site with ease. There's no CTs even remotely close to try and fend this off. They're both stuck in middle. And to make matters worse, they've been spotted by AZ. Favin's going to have to try and peek up, but, I mean, surely this round is already over, Pimp.
Already over. That was a great round by Gade. Not only did he get 2 entry frags, he also got an assist on the kill AZ got. And that little play there with the smoke on top of the box, then sitting 2 guys waiting for it to fade out and then catch off guys, the Sprout players. That was, the innovative Counter-Strike that we would like to see from a team like North. We know MSL is a guy that likes to be creative. We know it's a guy that thinks a lot about, team structure, team tactics, and all the team aspects of the game. So, good to see them coming straight off the bat in the first official LAN game with MSL on board, and you can actually see it's something they've been planning out, right? It's something they've been trying in practice, and this time around it worked out just fine. Gate with 2 nice entry kills. Same goes on for AZ getting the first one. It was a beautiful round by North and a super, super good start. Exactly what you'd like to see if you're a Danish fan, whereas for Sprout, a little bit too easy.
Right idea, just didn't really execute too well on the middle presence. So, apparently, Deja, am I saying that right?
I think so. Diha or something like that. Diha. I think that's what Kuben told me. He just messaged me and tried to give me the correct pronunciation in Polish, but I think I'm gonna go with Diha for now. And if that's not correct, Kuben, you can come and kick my ass.
Well, AZ's had his ass kicked by Oscar, handed to him with that scout. The force buy comes into effect. 2 scouts, you can expect to see this on Dust 2. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. Long-range prowess.
Yeah, I like it, That's the duel I want. I want Oscar to just go off. I think that's going to be the key player in this game. If he's having a great game, then I think this is going to be wide open. If he's not having one of those games where he, as you said, can take over the entire game by himself, I feel North is the better squad. They have the better structure, they have the better players, but Oscar may as well be the best player on the entire server as of right now.
Have to see if he lives up to that mantle. Cajun B taking point. They are taking over the A site at the same time, forcing and funneling the CTs away. But speak of the man, and he will deliver. 5 on 3. Cajun B and AZ have both been silenced. This is where, though, the lack of kit and nades may be a bit of an issue for the CTs, but they do have the manpower.
There's still a smoke on Gate as well, and you see that's coming into short from long. That's a nice little play right there. Actually, it's for CT spawn, so what do you do with that, North? Are you going to fight the guys at CT spawn? There we go, it comes in. MSL gets the first frag. followed up by Gate, and at this point it should be a relatively easy win for North. Gate with a third one as well. They can't really fight their way into this bomb site. 2 scouts and retaking, that's not gonna happen, and as you see, they fall back. Sprout with a decent effort here to make it work. Oscar's 2 entry frags was great, but not enough for them to clinch the round. North recovered. Gate once again with a double kill. Great start for him. That's also an interesting prospect to this lineup, right? He was the in-game leader before MSL came in. He was the guy who took over from Valde when he left the team. And to be fair, Gate is not a typical in-game leader. He's a bit too inexperienced. He did the job fine. He did the job because nobody else wanted or could do it, but he's not supposed to be an in-game leader. He's supposed to be a fragger. He's supposed to be a utility player, so to speak, and he's doing a good job so far with that.
They did save both scouts. They still have a little bit of a punch. If the T's run into them, Oscar is firing out and rattling, hoping to land some headshots, but nothing's forthcoming. No extra kills going to be added to his tally. Meanwhile, North not really messing around. They're just rushing straight through onto A, accompanied by Molotovs tossed down onto CT to stop any rotation from taking shape. He has been caught out in the open. And Oscar, in the meanwhile, though, does actually get a headshot onto Gate, so he's keeping the T's honest. They are keeping their economy in check for the time being. But if they clean sweep from here, it's not really going to make any difference. Faven with one of his own, MSL smoking, so he can try and take a different angle of defense. The player advantage is in favor of North. They have a good crossfire set up. This should be all over now for Sprout, but Oscar again continues to turn up the heat. Without any kits or nades, though, this round is not really going to be doable. He's hoping to try and bait one of these players back in to take their head off as well. Whether that's going to be successful or not, I was about to say is yet to be seen, but we have now got the answer. It's North 3-0.
North 3-0. It's expensive rounds, though. They're losing a lot of players, and Oscar again, he's doing it with the scout. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he can do it with the AWP as well. He's getting off to a good start here, despite not getting anything or any rounds on the board. 3-0 for North. Great start for them as well. But as you can see in the money, if they lose this one, that's straight into an eco. So plenty of opportunity for Sprout here if they were to win this round. I like this little anti-smoke, you know, not to get picked off, but then again, you run into it, and that's the thing. MSL with the AWP, we haven't touched upon that. He's the in-game leader, and he's now also transitioned into a main AWP player. Personally, it's fun for me. I've been playing with MSL for 4 or 5 years throughout my career, and he's always been the worst AWP player on any given server that I've been on, but for whatever reason, he learned to pick it up, and he's been doing a solid work with it. So he's a smart player. He knows how to position. Maybe his aiming and his you know, quickness with the orb is not the best, but he's effective with it, as we saw right there, getting the opening kill on towards Spitty. So great start once again for North. Making sure they're taking it slowly and surely, not really forcing the pace on them. And now Diha in a position on long all by himself.
Looking like another set play. About to take shape onto A. Diha, the final piece that needed to be plucked out from North, has been successfully removed. And Sprout, well, they'll be looking and opting for a save very early on. There's not really much Oscar could do in that situation. And, you know, going back to MSL's AWPing, I suppose in one way, if you're the IGL, you can position yourself and try and build the team around the ideas that you have with such an integral gun. And plus, if we go back to Stockholm, when he got the MVP, he actually was AWPing there. I remember it clearly because he busted out the AWP, and Henry and I were scratching our heads, and then he just wrecked everyone.
If you were scratching your head, you could imagine what I was doing throughout that tournament, because I was analyzing that one as well. It is an interesting thought, and it is an interesting idea. And you know, in modern days of Counter-Strike, you don't necessarily need an AWP on your team. You can play with fire rifles and still be an effective team. We see plenty of examples of that. You know, Team Liquid is a great example. They have Nitro being their primary AWP. They have Stewie2K who can pick it up. Even seen Twist and Nafly do it as well. But none of them are primary AWPers, right? They do it because they can, but it's not the role. It's not a Kenny S type of AWP player, or Guardian for that matter. So it's an interesting prospect, and I think MSL is smart enough to know that he's not going to build the team around him playing with the AWP. He's going to build the team around the players that he has that can do the job for him, and then he can be that last brick in the puzzle that can just fill in, you know, here and there and get the opening kills when he has a set plan for it. So I think it's a very interesting balance, and I think he's been doing good so far with it. And again, you know, if he can make that effective with North, then there is enough firepower on the lineup. You have Cajun, you have Ace, you have Gate, you know, there's a lot of firepower in there, not to forget Kirby. So it's a very interesting prospect for sure.
And so far, it's been a prospect that has been delivering 4-0. Sprout haven't really mustered much in terms of retaliation, barring Oscar. Some scout frags sprinkled in here and there. With the AWP, didn't really get a chance to use it in the last round. They lost A very quickly, and he missed his opportunity this time around as well. Tagged down to 35. Dennis and Gade both trade frags. Dennis is actually deemed forfeit as a result of that. And Oscar and Gade are both feeling the effects of war. So pretty much a stalemate ended in middle. North were opting for a potential wraparound, but they've decided against it, and now they're going to be hitting B instead. Favin flashed multiple times, now going to be clearing the cobwebs and comes back out for a double spray. Much better from Sprout. If he can hold on, it may deny the bomb plant. The bomb's actually been dropped behind Cage, and he's taking grenade damage, shrapnel all over the place. But with that Molotov, maybe he can push onto the side after all. No, he's hunting for more frags. He wants to do as much damage as possible on his way out. If he can get a bomb plant, all the better for it. Planting in an interesting position. Very smart, actually, with the smoke down. It's not a spot you're going to get pre-fired, so it does afford them the bomb plant at the very least, but Sprout finally get themselves on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and thanks to Favin getting that double kill on the B bomb side. I was just about to say that round is lost, right? There's no way Sprout can win this. There were 3 guys stuck in CT spawn towards the A bomb side. Favin was all by himself, facing 3 guys entering the B bomb side, but thank God for his double kill, kept them alive. Even if he got only 1 kill, that probably would have been enough for North to give them a realistic chance of winning the round. It's super, super tough to retake the B bomb side on Dust 2. I'm well aware that a lot of you guys out there are probably playing yourself in the matchmaking games. You know that if you just 2 guys alive and you got the bomb down on B bomb side, there's always a chance you can win the round. Favin wasn't allowing that for North, so kudos to him, and there we go. As you said, first round on the board for Sprout. Good start. Now DreamHack on long here. He needs to get this kill, and he does it. AC goes down. It's been a rough start for him to this game. He's supposed to be a star player for this lineup. He's not aware there's another guy out in the smoke. Question is, can he remain calm and get another frag? I don't think they know he's a pit either, and they do not, and there we go. Gets the second frag. Kagan gets the trade though, but it's not enough, and there we go. A third one as well. He is showing up, getting the 4th one. That is amazing for him. You know, the M4 powering in, and that's exactly why we consider him to be a new talent, a new guy we need to talk about. That aiming right there, that calmness, staying alive, waiting for the teammate to come in, perfectly played by DreamHack.
It's just the clarity and chaos. You know, with the second play there, he was biding his time, as you say, and trying to draw away the fire. That was Dennis.
Yeah.
Positioning himself perfectly just to precisely pick out all of them. So very well done from DreamHack. And Sprout now 2 on the bounce and force North into a save. They're actually going to have nothing picked up at all. I think they may have had a grenade on Gade, but he's been picked off straight away from Dennis. He's seen all the players running to catwalk, so Spitty can just throw down the Molotov, back away, and this should be a clean sweep from the CTs. I'd be surprised if they lost a single player. Spitty's the closest, but it is just a demolition job. MSL stands and the IGL cannot do anything. Oscar with 3.
That's it. That's Counter-Strike in a nutshell right there. That's how quick it can turn around. You see North in full control. They're up 4-0. You're thinking to yourself, uh-oh, this could be a bad game for Sprout. Takes 1 or 2 rounds, takes 1 or 2 plays from the guy on the screen right here, DreamHack, just to close down long from North. And that's it, right? They're back straight into the game. 4-3. That's not a bad start at all by Sprout. And now you see the economy is starting to build up again. Oscar sitting at almost $10K at an AWP. There we go, first pick coming in from MSL again with AWP. DreamHack not able to connect the shot. Able to fall back though, but another opening for North. That's super, super tough on a map like Dust 2. There's not a lot of stuff you can do as CTs in order to fight back and get another pick into the North camp. So great start for North, and as I was saying, you know, not a bad start by Sprout either, but it seems to me like the default of the game is going the way of North right now. They're getting the openings, they're getting the picks, and they're having the control of the pace as of right now.
Yeah, Oscar not for the first time, going aggressively and being punished for it. On the back foot straight away. They're going to be playing 2-2 formation, giving up middle control entirely. They do still have some grenades, but they're sparse. And a Molotov, their last one, has just been tossed out. Going to try and take tunnels control. DreamHack again. He's already had a big play on long, now shifting it up to short. 6 kills and 75 ADR. AZ in the meanwhile has been having a bit of a slow start to this one. Maybe this is his moment to shine. Flashes on long, forcing back the players on CT to the box. There's no smokes deployed on the long itself, but there are on CT. That's going to afford Kirby a chance to strike with the SG. AZ, bomb in hand, smoke to try and extinguish this Molotov, to plant in amongst it. This is planted for long, where most of the teams are currently residing. DreamHack opening up again on Car is going to claim the kill onto Kiabi, who did just block out Dennis beforehand, and now AZ trades back. It's been a back and forth encounter, but DreamHack with only 26 HP, this is a huge task ahead of him. I think he may have just seen a player to his left-hand side on the boxes, but it doesn't matter because MSL had long control anyway, so North back into winning ways.
Back into winning ways, but that was another close round, and I'd say Sprout had a fair fight in that one. DreamHack again having a lot of impact right now. It's good to see. He was starting out, I believe, 0 and 3, didn't do anything the first couple of rounds. Now he's sitting at 7th frags, and he's basically won a few rounds by himself for Sprout. So super good to see him having an impact. I think that's going to be vital for them. You can't rely only on Oscar, who's also having a great start to the game. MSL not connecting that one, and I think that's, you know, that's highlighted right there. In those types of duels, he may not be the best, as we see North just powering their way into this B bomb site. Cajun and Gate combining for a frag, and there we go. They lose control over the B bomb site, and that's technically round over. Kirby takes down Spiddy as well, and at this point, if you're Sprout, you just want to save. There's nothing you can do. That's Dust 2 in a nutshell as well. You know, it can go so fast, Vince. You hardly even realize.
Yeah, the B site really is cruel, and especially as Faven is effectively playing it alone right now. Yes, he had that hero play a couple of rounds ago when he got the 3K, but you can't rely on a player to dig that out their pocket every single time.
Oh, exactly. That'd be unfair to expect, so bit of a shame, but another great read by North. Again, it seems like they have a clear game plan in mind. You see the double stack on the big box in the early rounds, you know, taking short control, and then this round picking up the pace, just going straight into B bomb side, because they probably learned the fact that Faven is playing in there by himself all the time. So it seems like North have a great grasp of what's going on, and that's super, super good for them. Whereas for Sprout, they fought back, they got 3 rounds, but at this point, it's starting to look a little bit lackluster again. Luckily for them, Oscar and Dennis both saved the AWP so they can buy into this round. Oscar has enough money to drop one, so does Dennis. They fancy a FAMAS, but that's not really needed. So another full buy round coming in for both teams here, but at this point, this is where it can start to spin out of control. If you're North, you would like to win this one. If you're Sprout, you'd like to take a timeout. You'd like to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to get back straight into the game so you don't lose control and you don't feel you're getting snowballed on.
Yeah, this feels like a fulcrum point in this game, especially this half. As you say, if Sprout do concede from here, their economy's going to be in the bin. They're going to be conceding hefty amounts of rounds, and already North will be moving towards that double-digit mark. That is an incredibly terrifying prospect. So just pull the plug quick, try and recover, recuperate. If they can win this, as you say, it's game well and truly on. But this is a very important moment, and MSL through the smoke will take down Faven, and they know that Faven's typically the B player. That's huge.
That's very huge, you know, and that's a little bit lucky, but it works. You know, Oscar trying to get the repick. They tag up each other, I believe, through the doors. 25 and 27 HP. So MSL really having an impact with this AWP in the beginning of the game. I believe that is his 3rd opening frag in 10 rounds. That's not too bad, considering it's not his, dare I say, it's not his primary role. It's not his designated role. It's not the role that he was supposed to be when he got born into Counter-Strike, but he's involved as a player, and he's doing just fine right now. Sprout and Dennis trying to be somewhat aggressive here, but Cajun, he got alert out. He's ready for it. He knows that they have to be aggressive somewhere on the map, so sitting here and waiting for it. Question is, does Dennis dare to go further? It doesn't seem like it. Cajun moves away as well. It seems like they want to go towards the A bomb site this time around with a long split maybe. Bomb is positioned outside or long, and look at that. There's 2 players from Sprout there as well. This could be very dangerous, especially considering DreamHack is sitting there. He was so good last time they came around.
Yeah, it's DreamHack and Speedy, so even if they do take down DreamHack, they've got to be very cautious. Time is starting to dwindle away. Meanwhile, they're turning the pressure up on short simultaneously. Information being gathered. Are they going to check this corner? Yes, they are. And DreamHack will have no further impact in round 10. That should be the round going with it as well. With Oscar being tagged down early, one of their most aggressive players, one of the players that has that X factor that can turn around on its head, he had to play more passively. So it was just this double-edged sword from Sprout's perspective. We said they needed things to start shimmying back in their direction after this timeout. Well, emphatically, that is not going to be happening. They're going to be conceding again, 7-3 behind, and they may not be able to save both these AWPs either if North decide to push.
No, there's not much you can do at this point. And I think North is in a position where they can afford to push 1 or 2 guys at least here. As long as you survive 2, you'll be fine for the next and the following round. And Oscar now, he's getting to see some action here, I believe. Or is he? North again? And that's what I like about this lineup, right? That's what I like about MSL. He's not willing to take any gambles, willing to take any risk if it somehow lowers their own odds of buying up in a potential round, right? It's playing to your own strengths. There you go, sending in 1 guy, that's Kirby going down to Oscar, and that's it. Get to survive with 2 ops again. But North not taking any chances, not taking any risks, and they're playing damn fine right now. If you look at the game realistically, right, they lost a full anti-eco, and they lost a round where DreamHack got 4 kills, which he was not supposed to get. So at that point, you know, North right now, despite having given up 3 rounds, then full control, this could have easily been 9-1, potentially even 10-0.
That's a very good point. It's been mainly hero plays from Sprout. You had Favens, 3K,
that's it,
Diha, and that's pretty much it. And as we said, you can't rely on those plays round in, round out.
Exactly.
Those are exceptions to the rules rather than the rule itself. And right now, North are just seemingly coasting to a very comfortable half. Whatever happens, they're already going to have 7 rounds on this half, and there's still plenty of this half to go.
That's what's so beautiful about Counter-Strike, because as you said, you know, it's been hero plays by Sprout, it's been very dominant from North, but the scoreline is still what the scoreline is. It could have been also the case that every single round had been close, you know, it's been down to a lot of clutches, down to a lot of one-on-ones, down to a lot of 2 versus 2s. Hasn't been the case, but the scoreline could have been the same. So you're sitting back with a feeling that even though Sprout got 3 rounds, they're nowhere near the level of North right now, which doesn't pan out well for the second half. Whereas had we had a half where it was a close back and forth combat, you'd think to yourself, all right, this can still bounce back and forth, but it hasn't really been the case thus far, and we see Sprout, you know, lacking a little bit. Despite Oscar playing well, despite DreamHack playing well, it's more like the team composure right now that is not there.
Absolutely. North coming through into this tournament, turning some heads with the pickup of MSL we've already discussed, and so far, I have to say that it's not just been the leadership that's been impressive, but his AWPing's definitely been on point as well. He's missed a couple of shots, but he's got like 3 or 4 entries, I think, with the AWP, which...
I think people should expect that from MSL, right? He's not going to be the flashy AWP player. He's not going to be the Kenny S that takes over an entire game. He's not going to be Oscar, for that matter. There's no doubt that in terms of raw skill with the gun, MSL is nowhere near some of the top AWPers in the world. But I think he found a loophole in that game. I think he found a way to make himself as useful as possible in his given situation, right? He's the in-game leader. He's trying to be around where the action happens. He's trying to opening up the maps, you know, with safe peaks where he gets 1 shot. If he doesn't hit it, he just falls back. There's no way of him dying, you know, or having to hit some ridiculous flick, as you sometimes see Kenny S, you know, puts himself up to. So he's found the loophole in the AWP game. He's not necessarily a skilled AWP player. I would even argue that Vince, on a good day, you could probably take him down, you know, in a matchmaking game. But MSL is a clever player. He's a smart player, and he knows how to utilize it. And you know, that's also an aspect of Counter-Strike that is very, for me at least, interesting. And I guess for some of you guys out there watching as well.
Yeah, and I think it's also an aspect of IGLing, just to broaden it out. I assume there's a bit of a headset issue again, which is why obviously we're in the technical pause right now. But with IGLing, it's about knowing players' limitations. And in MSL's case, it's about knowing his own limitations. And as you say, he doesn't overstay his welcome with these peaks. If you were the likes of a Kenny S or a super flamboyant, super flick-heavy AWP, like a Voxic, for example, you'd always have that urge to go back in and re-peak where he knows where he's beaten. And so he backs away, he plays the percentages. And that's more often than not going to get you round wins.
It is, and it's nice to have a player like that on your team, a player that every single player from North can always look to MSL and they can think, okay, we know what he's going to do. We're not going to be surprised by him jumping around and all of a sudden hitting or not hitting a nice flick, as you see sometimes. So there's a lot of structure involved in that as well, and it's just nice to be on a team, and I can attest to that as well from my playing career, that if you have a teammate, you always know where he is on the map, you always know what he's doing, you always know he's calm, he's collective, and he's doing the same thing over and over again. It's just so much easier to maneuver around it and then facilitate yourself as a player. So it has a lot of positives. Obviously, the negative is that he's not as skilled as everyone else, but if that adds up for it, doesn't matter. Dennis, once again, somewhat pushing in towards tunnel. He's not going the full distance, and we've seen that duel between him and Cajun. Just sitting there and waiting for each other. None of them are willing to take the move, and I think that's wise of both of them.
Yeah, middle has been hotly contested from both teams. The pistol, of course, saw multiple casualties. MSL with 2 kills. Speedy and DreamHack. It's just going the same way, and MSL's gonna find a 3rd. Wouldn't you know it? Sprout instantly on the back foot. Dennis is gonna keep a hold of his AWP for the time being. and pick up the SG, which allows Faven to take the AWP instead. But, I mean, these are just slight constellations, and AZ's not going to allow them both to survive. From bad to worse on the side of Sprout.
I'm getting some DreamHack flashbacks right here, Vince. Are we going to see that again? Are we going to see MSL take over and not only the entire game, but the entire tournament, and just crown himself as the MVP as North claim their first victory as a new squad? What I'm seeing so far in this game is all positives. Dare I say it, I think Cabby's playing well, I think AC's getting the frags he's supposed to. We saw Gate have an impact in the pistol round. MSL, the best player on the server right now, you know, having a ton of impact with the AWP, another opening kill here, and overall he's just been playing hearts out, so I don't see any negatives right now coming out of North, but as said before, Counter-Strike can turn around real quick.
A valiant hold on Faven to keep the AWP alive. He can toss that across to Oscar, but it's more the overall score that's a bit of a worrying trend. We'll say from MSL, obviously you can only kill what's ahead of you, but they did kind of peek into him one by one as well. They did help him out a little bit there.
Yeah, well, exactly. You can only kill what's in front of you, and so far he's been doing that, so deserves a lot of credit, and also, you know, a guy that has to reinvent himself as a player. You know, his uptick day wasn't great. He got another chance here in North, and thus far he's making the best out of it. Once again, they're picking up the pace here, going towards Catwalk fast, and they're just rushing into this A-bomb side. Oscar left there almost by himself. There's one guy to back him up. He's going to be Molotov'd out, and he's going to have the AWP at hands. Can he do anything with it, though? They're getting closer and closer to his position. Spitty is there to back him up, but that's not going to be easy with an M4, and Oscar hasn't found the first one. Got him still right there, getting the second one as well, and that's exactly what we expect from Oscar. A nice double frag, turning it around, and now Sprout in a good position to win the round.
AZ just smoking himself off. The bomb hasn't been planted, though. We aren't looking at a post-plant. Sprout stampeding over the side. Oscar keeping that dream alive, even if his has been momentarily silenced. Kiabi going to be backing away with the SG. Does not want to put that across the CT. We've already discussed this. SGs in the CT's hands are a nightmare, especially on Dust 2. So I think this is going to be the longer haul. He may try and get some picks at range, try and maybe isolate a few of these CTs, but the round itself should be tied up.
Definitely should. Not much Cabby can do. Maybe get a little bit of a kill here. Nope. There's something funny about watching. We know his spray with an AK-47, but when he's zooming in with an SG and still decides to shake, it's becoming evident that's just the way he plays Counter-Strike, isn't it? It's not really optimal, but it's always good fun to see Cabby, a player that we have to see more from, right? Not only talking this tournament, and I think that's one of the wider stories we can look into with North. A team that, yes, at this particular tournament, they're new. They don't really have any expectations of doing too good, considering MSL just got into the team. But for the future, North is still a team that is expected to be a team that makes major playoffs, right? So that's what we're gonna hold them accountable for. We're gonna hold them up to that high standard. Whereas for Sprout, it's a team we don't expect too much from. But Oscar making sure they still have a stance in this game. That was a nice double kill with the AWP, and sitting at 11 frags right now. Him and MSL have been the two most prominent players on the server thus far. Now North and their money are not too good. Gate only on a pistol. Utility is a little bit lackluster on AC and Gate as well, so definitely a chance here for Sprout to fight back into the game one more time.
They could feasibly pull this back towards an 8-7 scoreline, but it has to start right here, right now. No middle aggression this time, playing a little bit more passively on the back foot. Fairly default setup, nothing out of the ordinary. They've given up middle control, but they're playing from CT in the form of Spitty. He's had a bit of a rough day at the office. 1 kill, 34 AD. ADR, I should say.
Both works. I understood you.
Oscar narrowly misses. Information gathered, though, and he knows that's a boost. That's at least 2 players catwalk from his perspective.
There's a big worry here, though. Look at the utility on the Sprout players. You have 2 guys without anything, and then you have Spitty only with a smoke and a flash, and he just used that smoke as well. There's still 52 seconds left in the round. If North is slowing down the pace here, then it could be incredible tough for Sprout to hold on. They're not going to, though. They're going to hit this A-bomb side one more time. Looks like they want to jump down to CT spawn, and they will. Spitty not able to connect the shot. Actually gets a little bit lucky. Oscar as well follows up with a kill. Goes down to Gate. DreamHack follows up on long, and now it's starting to look tough for North. Nice refrag for KGB here. Bomb is not down yet, but it will go down eventually. 3 versus 2. A round that is more than open for both teams here. And we see KGB on the move. He wants to flank Catwalk.
They're try and take the fight to Dennis, and it's one that he will win. Bomb planted, but not open for long. Can get them on the cross, an AWP and an SG between Cajun B and Gade. Meanwhile, Favin and Spiddy both coming through with SGs of their own. So very much on the tightrope. HP slightly favoring the CTs as Gade misses his opening shot. Could that be his last opportunity? Cajun B is too busy staring up at Catwalk, gonna see the barrel of the gun, and with Gade taking down Favin, it makes it that much easier to focus on the incoming Spiddy. North continue to apply the pressure.
You should really appreciate Cajun B in this situation. Him going out and looking for that kill, making it a 2 versus 2, completely turned around the momentum of that round. Super, super well played by Cajun B. That kill right there onto Dennis, it's not only a nice shot, but the whole thought process of him going to be aggressive. He knew he had to do something. You couldn't just sit back and wait for the retake to happen. So again, if you're a Counter-Strike fan and if you want to know how to evolve as a player, that play right there, that's something you should understand, and that's something you should practice yourself when you're playing the matchmaking games and all that kind of stuff. That was super, super well played by Cajun B, and that's how you turn around a 2 versus 3. North once again, putting a stop to Sprout. This time around, they're only able to get 1 round. Now they're buying up again, and this is it, right? If North win this one, there's not going to be a lot of money on the Sprout side coming into the next one. Looking at a 10-5 half, it's not going to be enough.
Certainly wouldn't think so. Puts more pressure on the pistol, but if nade damage, as Gade decides to push behind the flashbang, the weakened Dennis has been finished off, and Gade goes in for seconds. Sprout have been comprehensively bested in middle, and now Favin feels like he has to go aggressive with the SMG. You can understand why. He was being encircled by T's. But this leaves it on DreamHack and Oscar, and as you highlighted, with their economy being very much in the slumps, they may just try and save these guns, but they're not going to be allowed to. Cajun's playing aggro again. DreamHack caught out in the open of T-Spawn. Leaves just Oscar, he's on the long doors. This would be a huge take if he could bring it out of the round, but I'm just trying to be optimistic here, Pimp, because everything else has been pretty dreary for Sprout.
It's been a dominant performance from North thus far. Good thing about this is they can't afford to lose more than 2 guys in this round, so they can't go for the full hunt on Oscar now. They know where he is, though. He's going to be pinched into a corner. I think that's going to be it for the man here. Takes down MSL. Nice shot. Not able to connect on Kirby, and that's it. 10-4 for North now. As you said, the economy is not looking great for Sprout. It's been a very, very dominant performance by North thus far in the half. It's been hero plays, as we stated already, that's been able to keep Sprout into it. And I'd say, 4 rounds, it's enough for a potential comeback to happen if they have a strong T-side themselves. 5 rounds, I would say it's definitely needed. MSL once again attacking Farron through the smoke in the door. He hasn't been lucky with that either. So everything going the way of North right now, taking long control and being aggressive towards it. Kirby and AC out there. But look at that, that's Oscar doing some mid-round aggression. Can he catch off a guy here? I think he can. No, not connecting the shot to Cajun B. Getting a little bit lucky that Oscar is not a primary rifle, I guess. And that's it for Sprout. Another round where they're lacking a guy. Favin down to 19 HP. Utility is low. FAMAS, pistol, and MP9. Vince, how are they going to win this one?
It's going to have to be some ruthless aggression, you have to feel, because lack of utility, no kits. They have an arsenal weaponry that favors more aggressive plays, like the MP9 FAMAS. It's hard to say though, isn't it? Scraping the bottom of the barrel, and North now setting up. Maybe if they can catch them in this transition back towards middle, maybe if Dennis can string together a couple of kills and drop the bomb, this could be their way back into the round. And Dennis has got himself the 1. That may not be good enough though. And there's plenty of time left. Gade is going to go on a fact-finding mission to see if he can find some CTs. And there is one just above him, prowling the smoke. And the predator becomes the prey. Favin now watching the cross. He's next to fall. And it is looking like, and indeed it will be, an 11-4 half. Sprout have just been played off the server.
Yes. Easy, easy, easy.
There is a king in the north, and MSL has certainly returned and shown his worth. Some great AWPing performances, some great calls, but on the other side of the coin, Pimp, Sprout were disappointing.
They were a bit disappointing, but I think there was more, North playing well and actually forcing them out of their comfort zone. I think they played super, super well on the T side. They controlled the pace. They had great ideas for what exactly they wanted to do, and they played the clutch as well. Saw Cajun win a 2 versus 3 with Gate, I believe that was. So, yeah, Sprout a little bit underwhelming, but I think that's down to North playing well. We'll have to see Sprout step it up on the T side. They're all towards short right now. It's going to be up to Cajun. We know him to play in this position. That is the Cajun B spot. They almost say it. Him with an AWP in the early Astralis days, super, super effective here. So, question is, has he forgotten how to play that position, or does he still know how to do it? The pressure is coming in now from Sprout, all up to Cajun.
I'm sure it's like riding a bike. And he started that journey off well. DreamHack plugged straight away. Kibi hasn't shown his hand just yet as the bomb gets planted. Now they're going to realize this too. I think Dennis overextending, trying to take long control. So yes, you've got the bomb planted. Yes, it's going to afford you opportunities, but can you capitalize on this? Can you win the second pistol and get right back into this? Oscar, who's played so very well for Sprout, all things considered, is maybe the last beacon of hope, perched in the back of the site. He's not budged his muscle. He's not made a noise, and he's carving through the CT so quickly. But there are just too many to deal with. He had 4 players to find, and he's cut them in half.
That's another great pistol round by Gate. He got 3 kills in the first one, 2 kills in that one. He's sitting at 15 frags, top fragger on the entire server together with Oscar, if I'm not mistaken. So I haven't talked too much about him, but he's off to a good start as well. He's now been freed from his in-game leading duties. It's all up to MSL to control the team, and if that can enable Gate to play on this level, then we have another player in North who can have high impact together with Kirby, Cajun, and AC. So, as said before, I think it's all looking very, very good for North. I haven't really found anything negative to say. I haven't really found any mistakes. And to me, that's very impressive considering they've only been together with MSL for 5 days. They had a 5 days boot camp leading into this tournament, but thus far in this game, they haven't been forced to make the mistakes, arguably by Sprout. They haven't really been putting on a lot of pressure, but North right now, they're not making them. This play, though.
Second play there, it's not going to be a 1-player stack, and AZ able to punish Dennis, who moves out a little bit too far. So again, North, even when they lose players, they're still taking twice as many Sprout members with them. That does significantly cut the nade count, and it's just got a whole lot worse. It's only DreamHack that has anything to play with. Smoke and 2 flashes, he's been tagged down to 22, but he does have that man Oscar alongside him. He goes through the smoke and catches Kirby. This round's back on, Pimp. There's still time to rotate to either side as well.
Still a very open round. Oscar switches over to an SG. That's a wise move, considering that he has to be mobile now. Has a smoke. 2 flashes on DreamHack. He's low on HP though, but they have no idea where the North players are in MSL. He's going for that information. He's pushing up middle. He's gonna find 1 and potentially the second one as well. And he took down the player with the most HP. It's now all up to DreamHack, left with 22 lives. That's not gonna be enough, is it? He's gonna face both MSL and AC. They don't have any utility, only 1 smoke on MSL. That's not really gonna help him a lot. There we go, getting the first frag on AC. That's impressive. Not able to get the second one on the MSL though. North with another round. That's it, right? If you're a team that is playing well, you have structured teammates, you have structured game plans, and you're also winning the clutches, you're bound to win the game. Sprout putting on pressure, not enough though.
Again, you see that North, when they're backed into a corner, they come out swinging. MSL aggressive through middle. That could have cost them the round if he gets caught, but that aggression, information, a frag, and the 1v1 clutch. DreamHack, though, constantly making them work for it.
I think we've seen that he has individual level. We've seen that he can definitely play. He can hold up to his own. Right now, you're looking at Speedy. He's sitting at 2 and 13, not really having the impact you'd like from a player of his caliber, at least with his talent. Whereas for DreamHack, he's playing hearts out. He's sitting at 12-12. He's not playing an easy position on the CT side. Had to retake a lot of the times, had to save. The one time he was allowed to get a 4K, he got it. So kudos to him. Now goes down to MSL, who gets another opening kill in this game. That's been the story so far. MSL has been playing hearts out and really been very effective with the gun. He's had.
Oh, that aggression from Kirby. Molotov out into the peak. They may have been anticipating a flashbang, but Favin will even the odds. He's looking for the AK. Oh no, greed is not always good.
Not always. Another round that is leaning towards North. What can they do here? Oscar with an SG, slowly but surely trying to crawl his way back in. He's spotting a guy, but now they know where he is. MSL not connecting the shot to Oscar. That was a nice one, but basically turns it around. That's it from Speedy, though. Nice double kill, and finally we see him having some impact. 1 versus 1 going up against Cajun B. Problem for Speedy is he has no idea where he is. Cajun B making a lot of noise, though, but I don't think Speedy can hear him from this distance. And there we go. He's gonna go down. Look at that aggression coming out from all the North players. You said it. Kirby with the Molotov, with the CT spawn play. MSL taking the straight-up duel against Oscar. Now Cajun in a 1 versus 1, just rushing in towards the B bomb site. They're feeling it. They're confident right now, and there's nothing Sprout can do to stop it.
It's a hell of a combination when you consider that confidence plus what MSL said before. We're not putting much pressure on ourselves.
Sure.
We're not expecting to win.
But maybe that's it, right?
Exactly. So it's like this combination, this sweet center point. And you can see from Speedy's perspective, he's like, I'm going to go window. Maybe he's half one shot in the back. Brilliant.
That's the thing, and it's a little bit unfortunate for Speedy as well. He's sitting at 2 frags. He's not having a great game at all. He's been having a rough run, to be fair. We've seen him a few times shake his head after certain duels, and then he finally steps up. He gets a nice double kill. He thinks to himself, all right, I got this. I'm on fire. I'm ready. Then Cajun just rushes him, kills him in the back. It's demoralizing, and I think at this point, you know, Sprout, they're taking a tactical timeout. It's probably a good idea, but this will be it. If they don't get the next round, the game is effectively over, and I think, again, there hasn't been a lot of close rounds. It's been North dominating throughout the entire game, so I'm personally having a very hard time seeing how Sprout can fight their way back into this one.
I'm right alongside you, and I'd imagine most people watching feel the same way. So it's up to Sprout to prove everyone wrong. Probably prove to themselves as well. It's been a real rough day. Molotov left. They've already expended a lot of their utility and not really made up too much ground. Yes, they've got middle control early, but it's what you do with it that really counts on Dust 2. Smokes in their eyes as well, planted down from the CTs.
A lot of stuff is happening right now. North with a default setup on their CT side. 2 guys towards B. 1 guy in CT spawn. That's Kirby. He's going to see some action in a second. He gets the flash as well. Nobody out there just yet, though. But now he knows. They have control. Smoke goes down middle, and that's great for Kirby. You can see how they constantly play with and off each other. Kirby gets a flash from A. Kirby gets a smoke from B. And all of a sudden, they're ready to stack this B bomb site. Sprouts decide to go towards the B bomb site, which is right now looking like that's going to be the case with the bomb moving in towards Upper Dark. It's going to be 3 players from North waiting. That's going to be it, Vince. This is it.
They're going to need Oscar to get this entry if there's any hope. And even then, there's 2 players on car. And to make things worse, Gade on the drive-by takes his head clean off and goes in for second. And those 2 players on car haven't even shown themselves. They have walked headfirst into a trap. And DreamHack can do little with the Galil. 11 match points.
That was an absolute ridiculous shot from Gade. The drive-by right there with the M4 just removing Oscar from the server. Stood no chance whatsoever of connecting that kill. Let's see that one more time. Yeah, it's luck, you know, at that point. He's not even stopping. It's just plain and simple luck, and then he follows it up with nice, crisp aiming. Gade has had one hell of a game, sitting at 19 frags, and as said before, he's been freed from the in-game lead duties. And thus far, it's looking like that has done him very well. He's playing super, super well, and we know him within the Danish Counter-Strike scene to have a great aim. He just hasn't been able to translate that into competitive Counter-Strike just yet on a consistent basis. So this could be the start of something good for North. This could be the start of something good for Gade.
I think Dennis may have just seen that play on the scaffolding. That's why he's staying up there. Flashbang out, though. That will be AZ pulling back, throwing in the Molotov. Meanwhile, 1 more planted down on short, but it's deep. It's not allowing them to push in. MSL still holding the AWP angle on the step. Allows him to fall off and seek Sanctuary and CT spawn if he gets pushed, but decides to just back away instead. And they're going to be bolstering up. These calls are on point, man. They pull back towards long as 4 players from Sprout are stacking there.
At this point, it's not even funny to be a Sprout fan. At the same time, Gade going aggressive towards Dark. That could be a mistake. It is, though. He's winning the duel. So is Kirby, and there we go. Another 5 versus 3. Cajun follows up with a double kill, and that's it. Not a single kill has gone the way of Sprout in the last round of the game. Oscar, there's nothing he can do about this. It goes down to Kirby, and that's it. 16-4 for North. a very dominant performance. There was at no point that they weren't in full control, and you gotta give them credit for that. It's the first game with MSL back, and what a change that's been already.
It seemed MSL was living in their heads rent-free because every time they went somewhere, he was already rotating into the correct position to watch exactly where they were pushing from. It was pretty nuts. That is a comprehensive victory. 16-4 absolutely paints the picture of how that game went.
It surely does. If you gotta take away a few positives from the Sprout camp, it gotta be DreamHack. He showed up, has some individual skill. He won a lot of the duels. That 4K towards long, they gave them a shot of getting back into the first half. Oscar as well, hitting some nasty shots with the Scout, some good shots with the AWP as well, but you'd expect that from a guy of that caliber. The rest of the team not really showing up, and I think that's the problem with Sprout here. They as a team, they as a constellation of players, simply not good enough to compete with North at this certain point.
Well, they admitted they were the underdogs in Dennis's interview. I think that maybe shows you why, and it doesn't get any easier now in the lower bracket. You've got the likes of Mad Lions or Heroic waiting for them, so that's kind
There's
of
a lot of
rough
Danish
one.
Counter-Strike teams in that group, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy Danish players. It must be something in the DNA pit.
Maybe.
Either way, we can head back to the desk and have them break down that absolute demolition.
Thank you very much, guys. You know what we learned during that segment, that very lovely class from you guys? How to say DreamHack.
You're just going to go with that one?
Yeah,
We had a
DreamHack.
lesson.
I got the
DreamHack.
word from Kuben, the former coach of Virtus Pro. He messaged me with a voice message saying DreamHack, so I just translated that.
All right.
That's what we're going to go with, I think. Thank you very much for teaching us, Pimp. That was a very well lesson learned. Thank you so much, guys.
I think we're going to have Jacob send Dennis that video clip and teach him how to say his own teammate's name.
Yeah, exactly, because we were taking that from Dennis.
Yeah.
That cannot be right.
Well, commiserations to Sprout, but congratulations to North for getting that first win on the board. Obviously, they are the defending DreamHack Open champions as it is now, coming off that win in Seville. Kind of expected from them, considering that Sprout were the underdogs in that matchup.
I mean, logic was respected here. North winning quite easily. If we think about the first half, we see MSL with the AWP top fragging. We are back in the upside down. Nothing makes sense anymore. MSL is AWP and top fragging. But it was exactly, they picked up exactly where they left off when MSL was still in the team. Him leading with the AWP, finding impact, and Gade, what a performance from him.
For sure, and Gade has had that highlight performance, I think, throughout all of 2019. It's been quiet because North as a whole unit haven't been successful, but ever since he's taken over that in-game leadership towards the latter part of 2019, I think he's really found out exactly how to be as valuable and as impactful as he can for this North lineup in that server, and I think you saw glimpses of that with this Dust too, especially on that T side. I gotta say, I love how MSL just controlled the entire pace of that T side. We saw them continuously attacking towards that catwalk and then just shifting, adjusting, and going out towards that mid. And you saw how free it was for these North guys to be able to go out towards that mid. And it's all thanks to the early on pressure that they just conditioned for the Sprout side on catwalk.
Yeah, I mean, free, I think is the term here. Anytime there was a trade happening, North would win it. And even if the flash was missed a little bit, it doesn't matter. In position in which they had no business winning the duel, they would anyway. Going out of middle, fragging Dennis, getting revenge, then the second one to CT base, that is not supposed to happen. So yes, North put up a great fight, and I mean, they did exactly what they had to do, but I'm waiting to see against a better opposition, because I think they were getting away with rounds they shouldn't have won.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of wanted to touch on your point there. You were talking about Gade, Potter, and him and KGB. I believe it was round 13. It was a 2v5 on the T side. It was so beautiful, and it was sort of almost not in their favor in a lot of situations, but KGB, man, he was pushing long, he was looking so aggressive, and it's that confidence, I think, which is really pushing them through.
Exactly, and I think I have to touch a little bit more about the fact that Gade, ever since he took that in-game leadership role, he's got the clear vision of exactly what he wants to accomplish in that server, and it's just translating towards his teammates. Cajun B made every single right decision in that 2 versus 5 to be able to convert that round, and they absolutely did. The aggression that you mentioned, Freya, being able to have the cojones to just be more proactive, go out towards that long A, take more advantages that the Sprout guys are giving you, that is kudos to the North side.
Took me by surprise with the cojones. I like that. I didn't expect that. But okay, just as much as I agree with you, let's just also agree that this should never happen on the side of Sprout. You're up 5 versus 2. You're not supposed to give free duels. You're not supposed to try and push them. Just take your position, cover the map, and then win the round. So that's what I'm talking about when I say North did great, but some rounds we kind of gifted to them. That is the perfect example. Granted, KGB does absolutely everything right, but that should not be the case.
For sure. Definitely so, and I think, I mean, we have to talk about that Molotov. Actually, that Molotov was actually the play coming out of Sprout that delayed that bomb plant, that kind of enabled North to bring that round back, because it bought Cajun B like 10 seconds of time to where the Sprout guys were wondering, are they planting? Are they setting up for post plants? So it was really well played from North.
Well, speaking of the North side, I've got Gage sitting down with me. Massive congratulations. You really, really showed up in that server. I kind of want to talk about your journey as a player. We've seen you in 2019, you were really showing up, then you managed to take that trophy in Seville. Did that confidence kind of being defending DreamHack Open champions kind of play a part in this opening game?
I would actually say it didn't, because we had we've had some stuff going on. Now we brought MSL in, obviously, so yeah. Winning Sevilla was definitely a confident boost, but on the other hand, we knew we weren't really where we were supposed to be as a team. So now we've made changes and just looking forward to the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you touched on MSL there. Obviously, he was in the team beforehand, then sort of he was moved out of the team, and now him coming back into the team, how has he been integrating into it? Because we saw he put up a pretty stellar performance in this first matchup himself.
So he has a really great system, and I think that's what suits the players in our team really well. So yeah, we're just listening to him, and everything he has to say, we kind of just preach about, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be working incredibly well for you guys. At the desk, you've got some questions for Gage. Fire away.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, would you rather be in-game leading? I know sometimes as a player, when you get off that in-game leadership role, sometimes you over-communicate, you try to control the pieces. Are you like relieved that you're no longer in-game leader and your responsibilities are as a player, or would you rather have some more control?
I think it varies from time to time. I like being the leader, and I like being the guy in front, because I could lead the guys, obviously, but on the other hand, I knew that I wasn't a perfect in-game leader yet, but it would have taken way more time for me to improve and be better. But now I think it improved me as a player, and I think I've become smarter, and it makes me a better entry fragger now, I think. So yeah, I'm happy to be back in this role, and it suits me better, I think.
Speaking about MSL, I have a question, and believe me, that is not a trick question. But it didn't work the first time. Why is it going to work now? What is the difference, MSL coming back into North?
Because it's new players.
All right.
Do you think that's going to be the sort of difference maker, just in terms of your sort of team mentality and team attitude? Do you think that's the sort of contributing factor?
Yeah, also the backup we have from the management and the whole organization. It's another organization now than it was 1.5 years ago, so that plays a huge role as well. So yeah, it's just different times, and 2020 will hopefully be a way better year than 2019.
Well, thank you for your time, Gage, and massive congratulations once again. We'll be seeing you later in our winners matchup. But before we head into that, it's time to head to a quick break. Make sure you join us back for the third matchup of DreamHack Open Leipzig.